Good morning, everybody. It's Mr. Good here. It's Friday, April 17th. This is our last day for the first week of our remote learning. Hopefully, you guys have settled in and you feel confident about being able to do this format. Many of you have turned in most of your work. And for those who are not, remember that due date for the first week's work is today. As we get into our lesson, remember that we need you to mute your microphone as soon as you join any meeting. Unmute and talk when the teacher signals you. Please use one voice at a time. We need for everyone to stay on topic and then to use the chat box only to ask questions. Today for our opening, we'd like to give you a stress check. This is used to gauge where you are and how you're feeling right now. Remember, emotions and where you are right now is really big for us to understand since we can't be with you physically and see your emotions and kind of see how you're operating. So it's important for us to know what kind of space you're in right now. And so on this particular chart, you go from 0 to 10, 0 to about 2.5, 3 will tell us that you're in a good space and you can focus. Anything after 3 up until about 7 gives us an idea that something might be up with you, but you still have the ability to focus. And then anything above a 7 really is you feeling like maybe you can't manage your emotions or your behaviors right now. Maybe you need to take a break. So we want you to please pause the video and then make sure that you can give us an idea of where you are right now. You can do that in the Google comment section of your Google Classroom. All right, thank you guys for doing that for us. For our lesson today, we are going to continue on with the main idea. And for summarizing, you had the opportunity yesterday to go through 2 pieces of text. I want to make sure that I clarify our process because there was a lot of work and some of you were really confused about the first part. So at any point during our lesson, I'll give you a modeling exercise. That's where I take you through what I'm expecting you to do. Okay, and so I'll show you the text that we're going to use. I'll show you the process that we're going to use. We'll work through that together, and I'll show you the end result of that based on what that should look like. Yesterday, that was the portion that dealt with bees. Okay, and so that second portion where it dealt with the silk, that was the actual work. That was the independent work where you take what you've learned in the modeling lesson and then you apply it using what you have learned and a new text using the same process. And so I want to make sure that that's clear because we will go through again today a lesson and I'm going to model that for you. You're going to see the end result of that and you're going to take what you learned there and then use that on a new piece of information. Okay. So the difference between today's lesson and yesterday's lesson is that we're no longer looking at a text. Now we do have the text listed, but we're really going to be looking at a BrainPop video. And that will give us some practice with being able to take some notes. It would also give us an opportunity to realize that information can be given in a lot of different formats, and we still need to be able to summarize and pull out the main idea. So we will continue with that. And remember what we said, summaries in fiction and nonfiction media include different types of information. A summary is a short description of a text that covers the main points in as few words as possible. A summary should be short, but also specific enough that your audience knows that you aren't referencing hundreds of possible books or media types. So today we're going to start with information about kinetic and potential energy. So right now I'm going to ask that you would pause and watch the video. It is a BrainPop video, and BrainPop has given us the opportunity to see some things played out. You will need to log in. And with that login, I have put that in our Google instructions for today. So if you would pause right now and go and watch the kinetic potential energy BrainPop. Okay, guys, thank you for doing that. Hopefully you took some notes on what was important in that particular piece. Now we're going to go through and fill out the same graphic organizer that we used yesterday. It was a summary graphic organizer. And so as you see from the information, the topic, many of you were confused on the topic. The topic is 1 or 2 or 3 quick words. It really is kind of a hashtag. And you understand what we mean when we say a hashtag. It's just something that's going to point you in the right direction that gives you an idea of what this thing is about without going into too much detail. And so I put 2 potential topics down right there for you. Hashtag importance of energy and hashtag 2 types of energy. Since we talked about kinetic and potential energy, those were 2 types. And so that's just one thing that we talked about. That gives you almost an umbrella look, and everything else that's details, specific details, will come under the umbrella of these 2 types of energy. Okay. Now, remember, these are just some examples. There are many other things that you could put up there. So I am going to ask that you would kind of go through and see what else you could figure out as far as potential topics. But these, I think, are 2 that could get you in the right direction. On this particular passage, when we watched the video, there was a lot of information that was given and a lot of key details. And so when I watched it, these are the things that I pulled out. Now, you may have pulled out fewer things or more things, depending on how you consider information to be important. But these were some of the things that I saw when I pulled out the information, right? One was, when an object has energy, it has the potential to cause change. Okay, so that was helpful because, again, it talks about any object, and it really talks about this issue of whether or not there's change or movement. Okay, and we talked about movement. That second point, kinetic energy, is the energy in motion or movement. So things don't have kinetic energy until they move. Before they move and it's about to start moving, that's when it has its greatest potential energy, which is stored energy that increases or decreases depending upon an object's position or condition. In the video, it gave you an opportunity to see when something was being pushed up a hill, it has greater potential energy the higher it goes. Okay. The amount of kinetic energy that an object has depends on its mass and speed. And so that was really important because that helps us to know how we can form a formula and plug in numbers to help us find kinetic energy. Also, kinetic energy can be transferred when objects collide. So 2 objects that move together and then hit, there's kinetic energy that transfers from one object to the next object. And then the final thing is, energy is transferred or stored, but it cannot be created or destroyed. Okay. So those were the important details I felt like we pulled out. And so we'll use those details to put together a much shorter summary than all of the text in the video. Okay. And so looking at all of those pieces, this is what I came up with. You may have come up with something that's completely different, but still has a lot of the same details. And how it's worded is not my concern, is that you have a clear understanding of how to summarize that information and you give key important details. So this is what I wrote. This video showed how important energy is to movement by defining potential energy, which is stored energy, and kinetic energy, which is energy in motion, and giving examples of each. It also talked about what happens to energy when it's changed, transferred, since it can neither be created nor destroyed. Okay, so all of that you're going to watch in the video today can be broken down and really condensed into that smaller summary. Still has a lot of the same details. The important part is there. And if you read the summary, you're going to get a pretty good idea of what that whole video was about. Okay, so that's our goal today for you all, is that you can come up with the information for your actual text, video that you're going to be watching to move forward. Okay. So you're going to have another video, and here's where you see the login information for the BrainPop video. You're going to be using the new video to work independently and to try to determine the main idea, the key details, and then write a summary. Remember that you're going to submit your summary using the Google form and the Google Classroom link. So please make sure you see the Google form that's there, and then you'll fill that form out. Okay, so you won't have to copy and paste out of Docs the graphic organizer like you did the day before. We just put that into a Google form that you all can just use and then submit. Okay, that way we know that you have done it. We can check very easily if you guys are asking, did we get it or not? Okay, so you will have all of the links in the Google Classroom for the new video and the old video, and you'll have all the supplemental stuff. You'll have the text information of the video, and you will have the link to do the check-in. Okay, so that's our lesson for today, guys. We also want you to end up thinking about this: appreciation, apologies, and ahas. This has been a long week of a lot of changes. And so we want you to reflect on this first week of learning. Do you have anything that you'd like to share with us? Any information, any comments, any suggestions that you have about how to make this easier or better or more fun for you? If you do, please use the Google Classroom comment section to submit a private comment so that we can see those. And we will meet on Monday to see if there's any of these changes that make sense for us. Okay. Please understand that this process continues to change. There are new things that continue to come out, new restrictions about what we can use and what we can't. because this is, like I said, it's a new process and we've never been through this before. Okay. And so there may be some changes at the beginning of the week. We want you to always remember in the morning, please make sure you log into your Google Classroom and review your email, because you may have gotten an important message in your email as well that tells you something about how to continue with the rest of your day. All right. Thank you all so much for a great week. You all have worked very hard and all of your teachers are really proud of you. So please make sure that you guys have a great weekend, and we look forward to working with you next week.